Hello and welcome to another Coding Specs Python tutorial. Now today's episode will be short, but nevertheless important in understanding Python and how it works. First of all, I'd like to recap a topic which we covered in a previous tutorial, namely mutable and immutable objects. I've also linked the tutorial in the top right hand corner of your screen should you wish to check it, but in any case, here's a quick summary. If we write A equals a list, for example 1, 2, 3, and we write ID of A, we can see that this has a unique number representing the memory location of this variable within the computer's memory. We can then write A plus equals 4, for example, and also A dot append 5. And A, of course, will now contain the values 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. But if we write ID of A, we will see that it's the same as it was before. This means that A, which is a list, is a mutable object, meaning that if I change the values within it, the memory location of that object doesn't change. On the other hand, I could write A equals 5, and then ID of A would of course give us this number instead. And then by saying A plus equals 3, and that means A is now equal to 8, the ID location has changed. It's now 424 instead of 328. This means that yes, we've changed the value of A, but actually what we've done is created a new variable inside of our computer memory and assigned that to the letter A instead of the previous number 5. This means that A, as an integer, is an immutable object. Other examples of immutable objects are floating point numbers, booleans, strings, tuples, and frozen sets, whereas mutable objects are lists, sets, and dictionaries. Now, why is this important? Well, because some of you may come from using other coding languages, for example C and C++. These are known as static typing languages. In other words, the type of variable we are using, for example an integer, a string, a list, or whatever else, has to be declared at the beginning of our code and cannot be changed throughout it. This means that, for example, if we have A equals 5, and in this case A is an integer, we wouldn't be able to say suddenly within a later stage of our code, for example, A equals hello, which is now a string. Of course, you can see that Python instead allows us to do this without any errors. That's because in Python we have what is known as dynamic typing. What this means is that a variable can change its type throughout the code and we wouldn't have any kind of issue or error. This means that Python, while is sometimes less efficient than other kinds of coding such as C or C++, which are much more hardware oriented, Python on the other hand allows us to be way more flexible and allows us to much more easily write out our code in an intuitive and straightforward way. Now, please make sure to remember this aspect of static and dynamic typing, because should you ever decide to transition to a different kind of language, then that may imply that you have to use static typing instead. I like to give you all a quick reminder that we are indeed in the Christmas period, so I invite you to check out my Christmas-themed coding challenges. I'll leave a link to those in the top of your screen, and of course, should you wish to check out any other Python challenges or other episodes of my coding tutorial series, I'll leave those linked for you as well. As always, thank you all for watching, and I look forward to seeing you next time. Until then, of course, happy coding!